Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the Q&A live session on the topic of how does Malt algorithm really work. We're very excited to have you here. The question does come up a lot in our community, so we're going to try to give you the best answers that we can. I have the best team today with me, which I will introduce you to in a second. We will be spending about an hour together today. We have the recording on, so if you miss any parts, you can always come back to them, or if you need to jump, it will be available to you via our post-event email sometime next week. And yeah, let me introduce the team that we have here today with me. My name is Diana. I'm the part of community team at Malt, a team that is dedicated to our amazing freelancer community, supporting the entire sort of freelance lifecycle. We do the events for you, such as like this. We do in-person events. We work with partnerships, negotiating some prices with partnerships for you. But I will obviously tell all about this to you in a bit later manner. I'm very lucky to be joined today by, first of all, Raja. Hi, Raja. How are you doing?
Hello, nice to meet you all. So I'm product designer at Malt. Been working at Malt for 2 years and a half now, and I'm focusing on all what is related to freelancer profile.
Amazing. Thank you, Raja. And Camille, what do you do at Malt as a senior product manager? Can you tell us, please?
Yes. Hello, everyone. So I'm Camille, and I'm a product manager at Malt. So I'm focusing on the freelancer experience, working with Raja. So my role is to improve the experience that freelancers have on the platform, from creating their account to building their profile and all the way to the statistics page. But I also, on top of that, I also collaborate with the relevance team, which works on the matching between freelancers and clients, and making sure that search results are accurate and relevant as possible. So we'll find the right answers for you today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for introduction. As I mentioned before, I think we do have the perfect team to answer all of the questions that you might have, and the global one too. We will talk about this a bit as well when I mention you what are the benefits of Malt. But I'm based in London, Raja is based in Paris, Camille is based in Bordeaux. We have some behind-the-scenes team members monitoring the chat and all of your questions in the face of Florent. She's based in Belgium, and Celine, who is also based in Paris. A bit of housekeeping. We do have a questions section at the bottom right of your screen. So feel free to add your questions as we go into this section. Feel free to upvote some of the questions. As I said, we will be here for an hour. The presentation might run for around 40 minutes. So we will have some time for Q&A at the end. Well, we're hoping so, because we have a lot of content to cover. But yeah, feel free to use the questions section. Our team will be monitoring it, and hopefully we can answer all of the questions that you might have by the end of the session. Oh yeah, so this is the agenda for our session today. We've received a lot of questions from you because we were asking you to send them in advance about the algorithm. And so obviously, as Malt algorithm is a very broad topic, as you can imagine, we received lots and lots and lots of questions. So we've tried to categorize them into a few sections. The first is definitely the Malt algorithm itself. Then what does it take into account? And then exclusive insights on how to optimize your profile as a Malt platform user. I will play today sort of the curious mind role. I will be asking questions to Raja and Camille, and a representative sort of the freelance community, and asking questions, getting the answers to you. So hopefully it will all go super well. Before we dive into the topic of the webinar, I will quickly give you sort of a rundown on why Malt, how does it work for those that are new here. So Malt, we like to think that you are in control. We connect you with over 70,000 clients across Europe. Obviously, we are a big player in France. We're just developing in other countries, but thanks to our amazing sales team that work on big accounts, French key accounts in their subsidiaries in Europe, we are on amazing growth path across other countries. So we're hoping to reach the level that France has in terms of Malt's platform very soon. But for now, we're still growing. And yeah, for reference, Malt is #1 freelancing platform in France. And then on Malt, you also decide on your availability, your preference, your rate. We'll dive into this a bit more as we talk about the algorithm. But basically, our goal is to help you with prospecting. Well, ideally, we want you to stop prospecting at all, and we could, provide all of this ourselves. But for now, the focus is for you to kind of help you with prospecting and everything that surrounds it, and help you to focus on the project itself, not the admin that surrounds it too. So we have automated invoices. You can create quotes in a couple of seconds. So everything is super easy on the platform itself. That's why we try to get as many people as possible on it, just to showcase the benefit of Malt to a wider freelancer community. One of the big selling points of Malt is that you get paid within 10 working days, which is a big step up from the usual 30, 60, 90 days that a lot of the enterprise clients offer. And obviously, as I'm part of the community team, I have to mention it. You get a whole universe dedicated to freelancers. So events, networking, articles, training courses, partnerships, everything is at the tip of your hand. And everything is available as you're part of our Malt community. Quickly, also a couple of slides, and we're going to get into the algorithm, I promise. Practically speaking, how does Malt work? So there's a scenario of a client needing to find a freelancer. They go to Malt. They have two options to find said freelancers on Malt. First is self-service search. So it's sort of like an autonomous search. They type in keywords, as you can maybe see on the screenshot. So Java, marketing consultant, then project location, and they click search, and then a list of profiles will appear. I will show you on the next slide. Then the second option for them is to use our AI search, that Try AI search button. It's relatively a new feature that we've launched last year. It's been super popular among our clients because it helps to tailor the selected profiles to the clients and narrow down the selection quite massively, so they don't have to go through a lot of profiles at one time. So here's the results page, the example. So on the left, you will see the results page. Well, the clients will see if they use the keyword search, the autonomous search, and on the right side, it will be the AI search results. Both provide the option to sort of filter out, play with the set filters, choose and read the profiles of the freelancers that pop up. And I think one of the main things that stands out straight away is that the profiles that are on the first pages are the profiles that are fully complete. I'm not sure if you can see on the screenshot, some parts even say new, which we will also touch upon in the next couple of slides. But yeah, so this is how Malt works. It's sort of quite straightforward. We try to help you at many stages as we can. But now we will go into the big question around Malt algorithm. Well, basically, the first one is, can we reveal how does the algorithm work? I think Cami or Raja should be able to answer this today.
Yeah, hello. So about the question, like, is the matching algorithm really our proprietary? No, sorry, it's more on your side than I think Raja. Sorry, yes, it's me. Sorry for this confusion. So yes, if we can explain how the algorithm work. So not really, actually. We cannot fully explain how it works because a big part of the algorithm is based on machine learning, which means that the model learns from historical data and continuously improves over time, with the main goal of increasing successful matches and conversions. So this is something we don't have really a hand on it, so we cannot explain it. But in addition to that, we also apply some business rules that are manual rules that we assign more weight to certain criteria that we believe are important. So in the end, it's a combination of machine learning and human logic. And because the model keeps evolving with user behavior, really, there isn't really one single recipe we can fully share, But what is important to know is that the algorithm is built to work as a human, which means that if clients tend to look for freelancers that have already worked on Malt, or that have certain amount of recommendations or a number of experiences, or blah, 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 then the algorithm will push these profiles more. So it's what actually the human does that really the algorithm tries to replicate. And so about the question, is the algorithm owned exclusively by Malt, and is it proprietary? So yes, absolutely. The matching algorithm is fully developed in-house by a dedicated team at Malt, and it was specifically designed to fit the needs on our platform, which means connecting clients' requests with the right freelancers, and all the data we use remains internal, and the models are built to reflect the way our platform works and the expectations of our users.
Amazing. I can just sort of give an example of, if you think of YouTube or Netflix or Spotify, they don't reveal how their algorithm works. So it's sort of like the same system behind it. We have to keep it internal for technical and strategic reasons. But yeah, even if we try to explain it, because as Camille mentioned, it develops all the time, it would be super complex, and probably that what some things were true maybe 3 months ago, maybe will not be true 3 months later. So yeah, we just have to be very careful with this. And just to kind of confirm and definitely emphasize, all of the data that algorithm collects and reads, it only stays internally at Malt, only for the purposes of developing the algorithm further and helping our clients and freelancers kind of find the road to each other. Thank you so much, Camille. I don't know if Raja has anything to add, or...
Yeah, I wanted to precise because I saw some questions in the chat. Why is the algorithm important at Malt? Indeed, at Malt, you don't see the list of projects that are posted by clients. You don't apply by yourself. So it's all matching. Why we do believe it's a key value and it has worked so well until now. It's also because actually you don't have to do prospecting for things that you would not get anyway. The idea is that the algorithm understands clients and behaves just like a client would do. So it's really like replicating client recruitment behaviors. So yes, the algorithm is key, yet it works as a client. And the idea is that you gain time. We actually do the prospecting for you.
Thank you. I think the question that comes, well, the third part on the slide is quite a natural one, because obviously we have so many teams dedicated to the algorithm specifically. Could you sort of expand on this a bit more, just to let people know that it is really important? There's so many people working on it behind the scenes that you might not even think about.
Yeah, so how it's organized on our side. So there are basically 3 teams that are working closely together to get this matching magic, I would say. So the first one is the freelancer team. So it's Raja and I, and we focus really on the quality of the data and the freshness of freelancer data. So the idea really is to help freelancers complete and update their profiles through features and also so that they can stay visible and match with the right opportunities. So really this is the source of everything, is the data. And then there is a second team that is more on the client side, which works on how we collect the briefs from client and make sure that client receive a relevant shortlist of freelancers that fit their needs. And finally, there is the relevance team, which is fully dedicated to search and matching algorithms. So it's only machine learning engineers, and they work on the core models and how results are ranked and prioritized. So these are the 3 main teams working really around matching.
Thank you. Yes, and they're all amazing teams of professionals that we work with every day. And sort of, I guess the question that comes to me before we jump into a lot of the questions that we have in the chat that will be answered on the next slide. As you mentioned, the platform constantly evolves and a lot of teams work on it. What do you decide on which sort of things to prioritize, kind of what gets improved? Is it based on any sort of feedback, or is it sort of user behavior? Is there any insights on what gets prioritized in the development of the algorithm?
Yeah, it's a lot about feedbacks. It's a lot about testing. It's a lot about evaluating our algorithm, making sure that we get the right, most relevant profiles for the right needs. So how do we prioritize? It's a lot about where are the most important issues that clients get when they try to find freelancers, why they don't get the most relevant ones. And so really it's about making sure that we have found and pointed out the biggest issues. And on the freelancer side, it's really between making sure that freelancers have the right experience, the best experience, and also making sure that we have the right data for the matching. So it's a balance between both. And because actually we have two different goals, but which have to be like really, like matching at the end, is that for the freelancers, we really want them to be owning their profile, updating a lot, not making it as a static CV, but really something that is always changing, improving, and making sure that they are giving the right information so that clients can really reflect and understand how they can be helpful. And on the other side, we really want also to give some features for freelancers to make their life easier. So it's really a balance.
Okay. Yeah, it does sound like a balance. That's really interesting. And I think it does go straight into the next part of the categories of the questions that we've had. And I saw some sort of mirroring, echoing of the similar questions in the chat already. But for instance, I decided to make a profile on Malt, which I actually did. There's an alias profile of me under the name of Maria. She's a software engineer. And I filled out my profile completely. Malt said, well done to me. Everything is correct. Everything is green. But there is a lot of information that you have to fill out once you sort of sign up at Malt. So I'm really curious. So because obviously we have the title, availability, skills, experience, recommendations, responsiveness. Is there anything that algorithm sort of prioritizes when it takes into account, especially for I saw some questions around the photo, because we want to have people with profile photos on it. So how does it work? What is the process around this? Yeah, what does it take into account basically?
Yeah, started answering the question about the photo. Indeed, we have mandatory photo because there is this thing about knowing it's a real human. I saw the question, like it was asking questions about stereotypes and things like that. And of course, we are thinking about it. And it's also conversations we do have in our teams on how to make sure that it doesn't create any bias. Yet there is this thing where it's fully online and you want to make sure there's a human behind. So that's why the photo is mandatory. And then for the algorithm, what does the algorithm read? Well, same thing as a client. So first important thing is really your job title. So making sure, as you did, Maria, on your profile, making sure that your job title really sums up what you do and what are the keywords that you want to highlight in your experience. The idea is, as a human, I'm too lazy to read. So I'll just read the first thing I see, and it gives me an idea of what's behind. And then, of course, we have the experiences. So this is really thinking about it just like a CV. So experiences will be really the core of what you do. So make sure you have updated experiences. So even the last freelance project you did the last 6 months, you can add it on Malt to make sure that when a client sees your profile or the algorithm, they see the continuity. So there is no gap or things like this that would not be explained. This is something that reassures a lot also. And make sure to also link skills to your experience. So high focus on experience block. So we did job title, experience block. We then have ratings and reviews. So here it's all about trust. And of course, when you already do projects on Malt, you have ratings, you have the 5 stars, etc. When you're new, you also have the possibility to add recommendations. So it's really asking people from your network, people you worked with, to give you a recommendation on Malt, so that on your profile, we already know, oh, this is what this person thinks about. Okay, they already worked with this person, and it creates trust and reassurance. It, just like the profile picture, it's something about like having more humans is super reassuring for clients to know how to work with this person. And then the fourth element you need to focus on is really to make sure that there is the coherence between all what you put. So for example, the description should be coherent with the skills you chose, with the experience you put, and with the job title. So really making sure that the story is cohesive there. Don't know if it's clear, Diana.
No, it's super clear. And I think another part that we should mention is responsiveness. It's not necessarily from when you get the project from the client and it doesn't fit you and you just kind of ignore it. We always want you to make sure that you decline the project, because that means you're active on the profile. It helps us to kind of see that you maybe this project is not a fit for you, but you let us know, let the algorithm know that this was not the right choice for you specifically. So this all helps. So any activity that you can do on your profile definitely helps us to develop our algorithm. I'm going to probably stumble across this word quite a bit this time. And just in general, as Camille said, the matching magic to happen. Yeah. I think that's amazing.
Indeed, it's all about engagement. So the idea is, even when you say no to a project, it means you're engaged versus saying nothing. So really make sure you say no. It's very well valued.
Absolutely. Which also, I'm going to go back a couple of slides, because you can see some profiles here. They are kind of the first line, the first project that gets recommended when someone searches for a freelancer. How to appear first, how to be that person, that freelancer that appears the first in the results for the client.
So let's break a myth here. Being first does not really mean something. Why is that? Because actually being first depends on the client. So as we said, the goal is that the algorithm mimics clients, and actually clients don't have all the same behaviors. So it depends on the location of the client, for example. It will also depend on the type of client that is searching. For example, enterprise versus SMB won't have the same behaviors, which also means that the first profile to appear when you do the search won't be the first profile to appear when a client A or a client B do their searches. So that's why it's a bit of a myth. It's also a bit of a myth because actually we notice that clients go even to page 2. So being page 1, of course, is better because more people see you, but actually we have a lot of clients go into page 2 because like they are not on Google trying just to find a quick answer and go to something else. They're really trying to find a good profile to work with and to create like a super team and a great collaboration. So really the idea is page 1 is great, page 2 is also good. Yet how to appear first, let's say like how to appear in the top profiles, let's maybe sum it up like that. Really have a complete profile, I guess, is the main answer. And also make sure it remains fresh, because maybe you signed up like 3 months ago, things happened in between. So really don't hesitate to update your profile and to make sure you remain active on the platform.
Perfect. I think that kind of, yeah, Kemi, I think you have something to add, so feel free.
Yeah, I wanted to add something about this also, because on the freelancer side, what you can see is really the statistics around the search, which is around the first, the position, the views, and etc. But there is which is not really the big part of the business. The big part is more around the AI search. So what the algorithm will send directly to you when you get opportunities. It does not really go through the search, but it's another algorithm, and this is the biggest part of the business. And here you cannot really have any information around this. It will come later, but this is not something that we have put on the statistics. So, okay, you look at the search, which is good. You can have an impression on how it looks like on the search and etc. because it's slightly the same on the AI search part also. But really, it's really not the biggest part of the business. So there are other ways to search for freelancers.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's really helpful. So just to confirm, appearing on the first page obviously is not the most important part. Second page is also as good. But how does it kind of happen? Is it sort of random? Is it, yeah, because I saw I think it also matches with the question, the third question, new profiles get a bit of a boost. They have like a little tag, new. So yeah, could you help us understand this, please?
Yeah, we don't have an intentional shuffle of the first page, so it will really be the same criteria always that puts people in first page or second page or later. So yeah, we don't intentionally change it. Yet, as said, it will change according to clients. So maybe it will shuffle in the sense that for a client, you will be on first page, and for another client, you will actually be first results. So that's where it shuffles a bit. And it also means that we actually push you to the clients that would be the most willing to work with you. So it's all this idea of optimizing the prospecting part. And indeed, when you're a new profile, what happens? Well, first, complete your profile. I guess it's really like the number one advice we can give. Because indeed, as a new profile, you have a boost. So for almost 3 weeks, you are boosted on the platform. So we make sure that you will be shown on the top. Because of course, among the criteria to show profiles, as said, we have the ratings. So if you already did projects on Malt, and we also have the Super Malta program for fidelity also. Camille is going to talk about it later. So of course, as a new, you don't have this yet, but you have a boost for 3 weeks in the algorithm because we know that you need a little kick to start your profiles here, to start your projects. So really make sure you have a complete profile at start, because while you have the boost, you need to have a complete profile for the first 3 weeks to make sure the boost is really useful for you. And also you can start kicking off the first elements of the Super Malt program. For example, you can invite a client on Malt. So this is actually something that could be super helpful for you to get the 10 days payment, etc., etc. You also have less fees when inviting a client. And the idea is it also boosts you in the platform because you have a project, you have a rating, etc. And really do the same with recommendations. So these are easier even to get. So calling people from someone from your network you worked with who's trustworthy. And the idea is to already have some human saying that they worked with you and to make sure it's create this connection.
Great. Yeah, I think I saw a question in the chat of sort of like, there's a feeling, I guess, amongst the freelancers that there's a prioritization of people that have been longer on the platform, that maybe have more projects, that maybe, but no, we try to give a chance to everyone as long as you have the complete profile. And as Raja mentioned, it's very easy to get recommendations on the platform itself. So if you use Malt as sort of like the source of kind of your opportunities and trying to optimize your profile as much as you can, I think it definitely will be very beneficial to you. We have a very good article on this, on profile optimization, which is a deep dive, the machine learning behind Malt's own AI. I'm going to send the link to the chat to this now. Have a read in your own time. It has a lot of great tips on this. And we also have a lot of great resources available on our help center. So please, as I said before, do not hesitate to use them. A lot of recommendations. If anything changes, we will always make sure to update all of our freelancer communities just to make sure that they are in line with all of the latest updates that we have. I don't know if this is the right time to mention, Raja, the Freelancer Tester Club.
Yes, indeed. So as Camille said in the beginning, so we are focusing on a lot of things about freelancer profiles, and some things might change. And what we always do is to make sure that these features match what you need and what you want as freelancers. So really test them with our users regularly. And we have this program called the Freelancer Tester Club. Actually, it's just a type form where you put your email, nothing more. But we make sure that we contact freelancers each week. to test features, to exchange with them, and really to be like as close to you as possible to make sure that we understand you as best as we can.
I've just added the link to the type form in the chat. So if you want to be a part of it, please, 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 please submit the type form. But thank you both. This has been really helpful. I think it's only right we move on to the exclusive insights, more on the profile optimization, because obviously this is a very big question. I see a lot of people typing in the chat that, you know, there's concerns and scares that there's so many freelancers, how to stand out, because we have over 800,000 freelancers globally, at least over 25,000 in the UK. So how do you make sure that, you know, the client, when he searches for you, you will be the one that pops up to them?
So yes, for the first question, so my profile is complete. How can I stand out? Having a complete profile is really great to start. So that's what we already said. But yeah, to really stand out, it's good to have a good positioning. So what does it mean? Is that you want to avoid trying to do everything or being too broad. The idea really is to use the right keywords, the ones that are truly describe what you do, without going into a SEO approach with just accumulating all the possible keywords. This is not really it's not going to help. Clarity always wins. So be very specific about what you do. And what often makes difference is adding a human touch. So, and for example, in the description that highlights your services, your offers, your expertise, but also your personality. So it's great to have something that makes clients want to work with you, something human. And most important also, make sure that your work experiences are detailed and well written. So as Raja said, the experience is really playing a big role here. So you explain the context, your role, the deliverables, the skills also you use. So please attach the skills to your experiences, because this will give more context to each skill. And also don't hesitate to include your freelancer missions, because projects, because today on the profile what we can see is that there are a lot of permanent working experience, but not really freelance projects. And as many freelancer projects you will put on your profile, as much as like the algorithm behind, but also just because the human will do it, they will really try to project themselves, understand what you've been doing, and really clearly as very concrete type, not just I've been doing for the 10 years freelancing. No, just explain and put some very concrete examples. This will be very helpful. And very important thing to mention is that your reputation on the platform really helps to boost your visibility. So as Raja was mentioning, so getting your first projects on Malt, this is very important. So yeah, collecting client reviews and asking for recommendations also. And as you complete projects through Malt, you can also unlock your first Super Malter badge. So this badge plays a big role in increasing your visibility in search results and also in the algorithm. And it helps clients feel more confident by choosing you. So the more you work on Malt, the more visible you become. So every euro will helps you progress towards a higher status. And what you can do actually first, if you don't have any project, but you have project outside of Malt, you can bring your project to Malt. So make sure that the projects are done via Malt with your clients. And like this, you will have some euros, I was saying, and then you will start having the badges and also reviews and etc. etc. It's a very positive circle. So yeah.
And on this note, Camille, as I said previously, so there are also less fees when you invite a client, of course, because we are not doing the prospecting. But you still benefit from 10 days payment terms, automatic invoices, etc. You just need to make sure that the quote is actually also done on Malt so that we can trigger the follow-up of the project with the automatic invoices, the compliance, etc., all settled, and all the insurances.
Yeah. Sorry, Diana, go on.
No. I was just sort of, just because as I am the curious mind, I'm just trying to understand and summarize. So basically is to not rely heavily on sort of same sort of skills that maybe mean the same, that help the SEO, because it's not really the way that the algorithm works, right?
Exactly, because clients are a bit confused when too many keywords mean the same. But actually, if you find the right keyword explaining exactly what is your expertise, this is the best way to really build your profile.
Perfect. So if someone, let's say a client from a pharmaceutical industry, will be searching for a freelancer that has experience in pharmaceuticals, would you say it's best for them to sort of use the specific, even more specific jargon that the client might be kind of, it will help them to understand that you actually know what you're working on and what you're talking about, rather than kind of like, the wider topics that might be of interest?
Yeah, exactly. It's very reassuring for clients when they can find the words that actually are very similar to the vocabulary that actually they use every day. So I think it's good when you're specialized in this way. And also we have the industry expertise. So filling the industry expertise is very important also in your profile. And yes, totally, as you were saying.
Maybe on this, there's also a tip around the description. So indeed, the description isn't about you to describe your profile, but actually, as freelancers, you're also experts of a field, and you can also turn it as offers. So really, what work could you provide to a client? Because even though clients globally know what they are searching for, sometimes they don't know exactly how it could be put into practice. And as you have this experience as a freelancer to work with clients to make things concrete, it really helps them really project themselves on what's going to happen next and how they can work with you.
Perfect. Yeah, I think the main kind of takeaway is to think like a client that is not really sure what specifically he's looking for, but he might know the idea of what he needs to build. Because we want to keep the human aspect of the profiles. Obviously, we don't want it to be a static CV, as you both mentioned that in the beginning. And the client, the final decision, well, I'm not sure if I'm jumping the gun, because it will be always the client that will choose the profile in the end. So it has to be sort of like the human profile that is going to be, analyzed by our algorithm to match the human client. So it's the human aspect will always be there.
Yeah. Totally.
Perfect. I'm not sure if you have anything else on the profile optimization, or can we go?
No, we can jump on the second question.
Okay.
So yeah. So how can I sell myself well on Malt? So yes, selling yourself is slightly different from what we've just seen, because here it's more about convincing the client that you're the right fit for a specific project. So of course it starts with a solid profile again, but it also comes down to how you respond to opportunities. For example, personalize your messages, show that you have understood their need, and highlight the most relevant experiences and skills for that particular project. Actually, it's a bit like applying for a job, because the more tailored your application is, the better. And there are also small details that would help build trust, like, again, the client recommendation that you already had, professional photo, being responsive, engagement, everything that we have just said. Which shows that you're serious, reliable, and also pleasant to work with. So yes, so in short, selling yourself means adapting your pitch to each client and making sure that what makes you unique really stands out. For this question, yes.
I think, yeah, I think it's sort of like, as we've mentioned already, it's not a CV. It sort of has to be a full package that works for the client and client's needs. And I think the final decision human, I'm not sure if I, as I've said, I've jumped the gun a bit, or do you have anything to add to the human aspect of our algorithm?
So yeah, as we were saying for the last 30 minutes, I think the final decision is human. Okay. So, and again, the algorithm is nourished by the behavior of the client. So yeah, it's totally human, the final decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and also we talked about the fact that on Malt there are many ways to be found as a freelancer. So of course there is the search with some keywords. We have the AI search presented by Diana in the beginning. And also we have a manual recruitment. So it's really like recruitment experts working for some top clients to hire for them. And this is like completely human and manual. Of course, they also use the search, etc. But it's also an approach that is like even more human.
I think, yeah, all I hear is human. It's all done by people. So by people for people. So I think, yeah, we have to build something super smart that works. But at the end of the day, we're still going to have people that are behind this. Okay, I think we are done with the sort of the categorized questions. We've included some questions that stand out to us that we couldn't really categorize into specific specific sections. The first one I will take myself because I saw, Andri, you asked the question in the tab as well. How do I find clients on Malt? So basically, I really hope that some parts of the webinar have answered this question for you already, but just to summarize, you don't really find clients on Malt yourself. They come here to find you. That's why we give a lot of tips and content on profile optimization, making sure you stand out, because the search sort of basically only works one way, from client to freelancer. And set clients will always sort of make sure to contact you themselves, because you will have the option to send them the quote. You can work on them within the platform, so you don't really have to leave the platform at all for anything. But yeah, it only works one way. I hope that answers your question. I think the next one is taken by Camille, I believe.
Yeah, so a question by Alain. I think he's from Belgium. Is it better to focus on one specialty or mention all of them? So it depends on the specialty. If you want to really talk about everything, all the specialties, and even if you have done, I don't know, 2 months of SQL and you want to add it, I'm not sure it's really what you want. It's better to you can mention all your specialties, but only the ones where you really have an expertise. So if you want to show that you have multiple specialties, it's really important to structure your profile with clear experiences, again, and attach skills to experience to each one. And that way your expertise is better justified. So easier to understand and easier to match. So for example, I've been looking to Alain's profile, and I can see that there is not really a description for the 3 first experiences, and there are no skills attached to them, which make very hard for clients to understand his strengths and why he has 2 different specialties, for example. So actually, the more you justify and explain and put context to each of your specialties, the better. And so when you attach skills to each experience, it becomes much easier for clients and also for the algorithm, again, to evaluate your level of expertise and the number of years of experience that you have for each skill. So also in Alan's profile, I can see that there are more than 30 skills at the top of the profile, so at the global level. But it would be better if all the skills were attached to experience to really understand why he would be the one helping the client for this and this and this.
Perfect. Yes. I think it's such an interesting thing that you actually went to Alan's profile to see what could be an issue. I think Alan has just probably started to work on his profile on Malt. So hopefully these tips will help him to complete the profile and make sure that he gets found by the clients on the platform. Amazing. I don't know if you want to take the Lorenzo's question as well, or
yeah. We can take Lorenzo's question. So, so as a data scientist calling yourself a full stack data scientist, does it penalize your profile compared to a more specific title that narrows down your area of expertise? So for example, just full stack, just data scientist, just maybe machine learning engineer, blah, blah, blah. What is very important is to use keywords that clients are actually searching for. So if you know that this is really a trend that is going on and on, that actually companies are looking for full stack data scientists, then you can absolutely use it. Today on the platform, so I've looked at the profiles that we have for full stack data scientists outside of France. There are not that many. So less than 100, so it's very specific. But I mean, it could be interesting to also test different titles. For example, you could write full stack data scientist or just machine learning engineer, or like you could try. I think that's a good idea to include more keywords or less. And so change the visibility in different searches. So it's not penalizing if it's a real expertise, again, but it's always a good way to optimize your title for the keywords that clients are actively looking for. So I would say that actually it could be good. This is something you should test. And maybe you can say, I will put only full stack developer, and on my skills, I will put more skills also around data scientists that can show my expertise, and also again attach them to the experiences that would justify my expertise as a data scientist. So yeah, hope I answered it.
I think you did answer perfectly, and I really like the notion of testing. Like, I feel like the whole life is just A/B testing. What works, what doesn't. So you have to kind of, I guess our recommendation is not to put everything all at once. Whatever will stick, maybe will pop out, but just see for yourself what gives you the most sort of traction, maybe outside of Malt. You can try, if something works outside of Malt, you can try a different tactic on Malt. But if you know something works outside, you can try it here as well, and just test it. I like the word testing. It's a great advice to give. Thank you, Camille. I think we have a couple more questions, which are really interesting. I'm curious to hear about the location aspect. So I like that we categorized it into 2 questions here. Thank you, Camille. So yeah, feel free to take away.
So these are very good questions, because we know that there is you are located in countries that we have been developing and will be still developing in the next years, but it's not as mature as France. So also this is why it's not that easy at the beginning to get some projects. But yeah, so we're still quite young, and the algorithm also is still learning, because we don't have that much historical data. But yeah, today the algorithm does try to show profiles that are relevant and also located in nearby countries. But as the platform grows in Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, and we gather more data, the matching will continue to improve. And in the meantime, again, make sure that your profile is as complete and optimized as possible, with clear skills, experiences, and keywords, and to increase the chances, yes.
And maybe also on this, so it's true that the market is not as big as what we can have in Spain or in France. Yet like the glass is also half full, because actually you also have less freelancer competitors. It also means that on the freelancer side, there are also less people. So it's also an opportunity to actually be the first to discuss with the client, to create this first relationship with them, so that it also gives you an advantage actually to start new.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the glass
true.
is full, almost full, half full. I actually wanted to ask, because obviously in France, I believe all profiles are in French. In Spain, they will be in Spanish. So is the general recommendation for people outside of those bigger markets to have them in English? Because what if a European client will be searching for them?
Malt is still a local first platform. So
Okay.
if you're in the Netherlands, make sure you put it in Dutch. So really make sure like you match the language of your country, because we are still local first, and we will always be pushing first the profiles that are close to clients. And then also, really don't worry about the cross languages thing. Actually, we translate everything automatically, and it translates pretty well. So if I am a client, for example, if we take Belgium, we have many languages on the same platform, on the same locale. So a client in French will actually read all profiles in French because they will be automatically translated. So really don't worry about this, and make sure you use your language. It works also for the skills, for all the tags you put on your profile, etc. Everything is automated, and the algorithm also works in different languages, so no issue on this.
Yeah, truly a global company. I like to hear that. And I guess the question from Zachariah is quite relevant for a freelancer that only offers remote work. How do we approach this? How does the algorithm sort of read this?
Yeah, so actually, so yes, the location filter excludes freelancers who only offer remote work. What it means is that companies often use location filters to find freelancers that are close by. Because from what we've seen from the COVID, yes, of course, there are a lot of remote, but still companies are willing to have freelancers coming to the office more and more, which was not the case before. So being full remote can sometimes limit your visibility for clients who prefer or require some on-site presence. However, we are currently working on a project to improve this. So it's a huge product that will probably be there in 2026. But really, the idea is that helping clients to search for freelancers all around Europe and not just in their countries. So the notion of location will change, but you will be, of course, you will have some info around this. And so I think that the location is important today. So if you want projects and so more around your country and close to you, yeah, it's better if you put a city and not just for remote.
Okay, thank you so much. That's really helpful. I think, yeah, we had a comment from Jeffrey as he was logging off specifically about this. So thank you for answering this so thoroughly. I think this is it for the chosen questions. I'll see after I finish the slides if we will have some time for extra Q&A. But just to kind of summarize everything, well, first of all, I want to obviously mention the majority of questions that we get most of the time is, well, not most of the time, but, you know, something that people notice is that there might not be a lot of projects that come their way if they sign up. Could be due to the reasons that their profile is not optimized, or, you know, most of the time it's due to the market sort of supply and demand gap. So we do tend to see the slowing down of markets at some points, then the market picks up. So we can never sort of predict this, especially in the countries where we still grow. That's why it's really important for us to get the feedback, you know, make sure that people are active on the platform, so we could, you know, get more clients on it, see that we have a lot of freelancers, and, you know, they would propose more project to us. So it kind of works both ways. But yeah, I think it's important to mention, especially in tough times with redundancies and, you know, the unstable market, that profile optimization could not be the only reason why there's no projects on the platform. But despite all of that, we still want to make sure that if the client comes to the platform, they can still find you. And that's why the 3 key steps that we recommend is to have your profile completed, sign your freelancer charter, make sure your daily rate is there. You will get this little congratulations, your profile is complete once it's all done. Make sure to update your availability regularly. So you can even do this in the thoughts of future times. So if you're unavailable during summer, but you will be in September, you can do that. You will have a little tag on your profile that says available from September 15th. And reactivity to offers. We don't mention specifically saying yes or ignoring the clients. We just want to make sure that you log in and actually say no. It's definitely way better than not responding to an offer, and we will not penalize your profile if you decline an offer from a client that you don't find suitable. We will only, I think, reward you with a better algorithm for next time. Quickly, the last slide. We like to say here as well, independent does not mean alone. That's why you have the support system of community teams locally. So you have the UK community team, we have a community team in Belgium, obviously in France, in Spain, in Germany, in all of the markets that we operate, you will have a dedicated community team that help to work on the events for you. So it's going to be networking events, virtual events like this one to try to help and to understand the algorithm for you and profile optimization. And we have expert sessions, upskilling. All of the stuff that we talk about mainly is available on our resource center. So we also recently just launched our Malt Tech Trends report. That is a very interesting read. I definitely recommend you to go and find it. But we also have our newsletters, blog articles, market studies, everything that is available to you if you're part of our Malt community platform. And obviously, last but not least, is our partners. We try to negotiate the best deals for you. You get access to Leeuwagen at a best price, Google Cloud Training, Power User. A lot of the partners will be sort of the local ones that you will see once you log in into your local profile, but we have a couple of global profiles. As I've mentioned, Leeuwagen and Google Cloud is available across all of the markets. Okay, I think that should be it. Thank you so much for joining. We have maybe a couple of minutes for some of the questions. In the meantime, maybe you can scan the QR code, let us know how we did. We would definitely love some feedback from you. I saw a couple of questions around daily rate. I'm not sure if you're okay to answer this, Cami or Raja, because obviously we don't really give an option to give a range of said daily rate. So sometimes freelancers can find it frustrating because they might be able to offer a smaller daily rate and negotiate it with the client. So could you please?
Yeah, that's a very, sorry, Raja.
No, go on.
It's a very interesting point. Actually, when clients are searching, they put a range of daily rate. They put a daily rate, sorry, and we show freelancers that are just above or below. And why we do that? Because really there is this a bit non-negotiable sometimes from clients where they have a straight budget, and so they don't want to see too expensive freelancers. But we always try to do like a range and to show not just the ones that are exactly at this daily rate, but yes.
Yeah, and also the daily rate is that set in stone. So when we're receiving a message from a client, to answer, you have to apply, and you actually can adapt your daily rate at this stage to make sure that you actually match what the client is asking for. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I've chosen this because I've seen a couple of questions around daily rate, but I just looked through the questions as you were answering this, and I think we've answered most of them, hopefully. If we've missed any questions, feel free to reach out to us because we are currently at time, so unfortunately we cannot continue any longer. Let me see, there's another Q&A. Thank you for that.
Diana?
Yes?
Diana, I just saw a question that actually is very interesting.
Okay.
We will remove gifts from portfolio, so that's what was asked. And for now, we will not consider to adding it because it's just a very technical issue and something that we cannot do. But the idea is we'll be evolving the profile a lot in the next month. And the idea also is that the portfolio will be much richer and not just that what we have today with only images. And so normally you'll be able to put a lot more things. So yeah, but not now, just in a few months. Yeah.
I think there's a few features that you're obviously constantly working. As we mentioned, we have 3 teams on the front line of our algorithm. So there's a lot of features coming in, but amazing that Jarko got their question as the last second.
Sorry, just to say, please can you join the tester club? So if you have anything to tell us around portfolios and what you were saying, gifts and etc., that would be very interesting. Thank you.
I've sent the type form again, just to emphasize the tester club really needs input from our amazing freelancers, especially those that have feedback on features that we provide. Anything else you would like to add, Raja or Camille? Okay, I see some nods. I saw already some thank yous, so I think people had to jump off the session. But the recording, just to remind you, recording will be available for everyone. Thank you, Laurent, for taking the lead on the questions. I saw you answering them, really helpful. Thank you, everyone, once again. It was a really interesting session. I feel like I know everything now. So I'm hoping we helped you to understand our algorithm a little bit better, and maybe your profile will look a bit different after this session. So thank you so much, Raja, Camille. You're superstars, so insightful, so clear. I really appreciate it. So yeah, thank you, everyone, and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.